Hello, cool kids, and welcome to Gutted.
How do you gut someone?
Always trust my gut.
Hello, and welcome to Gutted. I'm Elise.
And I'm Tony, and we're here to spill our guts about horror films. And welcome. If it is your first time here, thank you so much for joining us. We have another Guess the Ending episode for you today, formerly known as a Gut Reaction.
And today we are announcing a new theme or direction for the podcast. Not entirely, but we do want to, hone it in. We're both a little bit distractible and all over the place. So we need to find ways to keep us organized.
Yeah, and what better way to do that than with a heavy dose of
Themes.
some 90s nostalgia.
90s.
And if you couldn't tell, if you're watching the YouTube video, Elise is decked out fully in her 90s gear. This is an actual vintage gecko shirt from the 90s.
It is. It was my brother's and he didn't want it, so I took it.
So that thing is probably like 35 years old?
Yes.
And also the hair doily, what do you call that?
My scrunchie.
Scrunchie, that's right.
My scrunchie.
Hair up to the side.
Yeah.
Me, I try to do like the little 90s, that sort of like front bedhead thing, but I don't think it worked very well.
I like this little dealy bob that you have over here on the side. I feel like that's very 90s, like little boy 90s.
Yeah. My style in the 90s was I had the hair parted in the middle with the undercut. And then I would put a ton of gel and it wasn't quite a mushroom head, but it was like that silk, like in that same vein. It looked horrible.
Yeah. No, it was cute. It was 90s cute. 90s cool. Well, do you guys like the 90s? Hope so, because today we have a very 90s hidden horror gem called Mikey from 1992. We have not seen this one before, so we're quite excited. Mikey predates The Good Son by a full year because that came out in 1993. Mikey was directed by Dennis Dimster, who also did 2009's Double Identity starring Val Kilmer.
I have no idea what that is. But
I haven't seen it either. It looks kind of like The Saint, if you've seen that one. Written by Jonathan Glassner, who wrote 4 episodes of CSI Miami.
Wow, you went hard on the research for this.
I did.
So are you telling me that Mikey is a Killer Kid movie?
Oh, yes, it's a Killer Kid movie.
You mentioned Good Son.
Right. So Mikey is like kind of like the bad seed, So it's like it's post bad seed, post bloody birthday, but it is early 90s. And it is one of those first movies that we see in the 90s with one of those bad kids that might be doing some deadly deeds.
Before we get too far into that, I want to just talk about the episode. This will be an episode in 4 acts. First, we'll recap the first half of the film. Then we'll go over 5 predictions each of what we think might happen in the second half. And after watching the second half, we'll return with our prediction results and conclude with our coveted award ceremony,
yes.
The Golden Guts.
The Golden
Sorry to
Guts.
okay, now we can get back into
and that brings me to why we have to have a very specific theme, because we are very disorganized naturally. We just want to spew out all of our knowledge and feelings all at once.
Well, I mean, it's the 90s. We grew up in the 90s. We were born in the mid 80s and grew up in the 90s. So this is like our heyday. And I think we were just sitting around thinking like, we want to watch more 90s movies, particularly ones that we haven't seen, or like Mikey, for example. So this really is the inspirational video for us.
It was. Mikey inspired us. We bought a copy of Mikey from some store, who knows where. And we're like, you know what? That looks good. Let's watch it. And then finally we got around to watching it. We wanted to do it for, I guess, the ending. And I think that's when we kind of came up with this theme.
Like, you know what? The 90s are just so fun to watch.
Oh, man.
You know what? It could have also started when we reviewed Jacko, because that's another really fun 90s movie. Does that mean we're a 90s podcast now?
No, we're not a 90s podcast. It just means that we're going to exhaust this topic of 90s hidden gems.
For how long?
until we can't think of any more or until we want to stop because our attention span is fleeting. So who knows? This might last 2 episodes.
So you might get 2 or 3 episodes of 90s movies before we go into a full random array of different types of movies.
Okay. If you haven't seen Mikey and you want to play along, it is currently streaming on Prime and Fubo with a subscription or for free on Crackle. Watch about 46 minutes, press pause, and come up with some of your own predictions for the ending.
Who's heard of Crackle? I don't know. Who's using Crackle?
I just heard of Crackle today.
Maybe Crackle is the real hidden gem here. That's the thing we need to check out.
The new hidden gem.
Yeah. Cancel your Amazon Prime subscription, cancel Netflix, and just stick with Crackle.
I love Tubi, but sometimes the commercials are a little much. Maybe Crackle has less commercials. That's the key.
I feel like all those ones that have names that are similar to Tubi, like Pluto TV, Fubo, Roku channel, they have more commercials than Tubi.
I know.
So yeah, that is the one thing that is a bummer about Tubi is the commercials. But hey, that gives you time to get up, stretch.
I actually do purposely watch movies on Tubi when I have to like fold laundry because I cannot do any task whilst watching a movie. I'm too distracted by the movie.
What if they introduce commercials at the theater? Like you go into the AMC.
I would cancel A-List immediately.
You have a commercial for Sky Rizzy in the middle of Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which we saw last night.
We did see it last night.
Let's get into it. Elise, have you heard of Mikey before we got the DVD or before watching Mikey? Like, what's your experience with Mikey?
I feel like I've heard of Mikey, and I think I always thought, oh, that's a Good Son ripoff. Until today, when I looked at the dates of both of those movies, and Mikey predates The Good Son, and I was shocked.
Yeah. Okay, my experience with Mikey was I saw some clips of it on social media. It was completely off my radar. I had no idea this movie existed.
You've seen clips?
Well, I mean, nothing spoilery.
Okay.
And nothing that I remember. Okay. But I also have a good friend who goes by Mikey. It's just fun to say the name Mikey. Honestly. And there was a commercial in the 90s where it's like, Mikey, I think he likes it.
Let's get Mikey. Yeah. He won't eat it. He hates everything. He likes it.
It doesn't surprise me that this movie was made because in the early 90s, this sort of was the heyday of these
kids.
Sort of like kids without parental vision.
Kids being wild.
Supervision.
Yeah.
Or, just kids running amok. We had movies like Home Alone that were super popular.
And
Problem Child.
Home Alone came out in 1990, correct? Yeah. And so this came out 2 years later. And there is a scene where Mikey is doing a very Kevin McAllister type thing. Mm-hmm. And it does seem like this is like what happens when real kids watch Home Alone and get ideas.
So yeah, I think that is sort of the byproduct of Home Alone being so popular when it came out. People were probably like, you know what, now I can do my killer kid movie. Yeah, kids are in right now.
Yeah, what iteration of Kevin McAllister can I make? We got Problem Child, which I always thought was really scary as a kid because Problem Child was doing things that I thought were really dangerous. And I can't remember what specifically, but I just remember the feeling as a kid watching it, thinking like that kid's scary.
I love that movie. I would not be able to tell you anything that happened in Problem Child 1. Problem Child 2, I have some scenes that I remember, but it's been decades since I've seen those movies.
I just remember in Problem Child 2, you got a little sister who was also devious. And I was like, look, girls can be bad too.
Maybe it was something about parenting in the early 90s.
It was hard.
But there were so many movies about, kids just doing their own thing. I'm thinking about Monkey Trouble, Richie Rich.
Monkey Trouble, that's like a monkey check. Going wild.
I know, but it's like about a little girl and her monkey friend.
Oh, okay.
There's tons of these examples of 90s movies where there's just like a kid and you're just like, where are the parents?
Okay, and there is a line in Mikey where the mom's like, you know what? Go outside and come back whenever you want. Whenever you want. And they really emphasize to not come back until you're good and ready.
Let me name some more of my favorites. Three Ninjas, Surf Ninjas.
Rookie of the Year.
So many good ones. Oh my
Ladybugs.
God. This is the reason really why we're doing this sort of 90s nostalgia. Listening to other horror podcasters or just people who talk about horror movies quite a bit, there is this general sense that 70s and 80s horror is like superior. Is the pinnacle. But then when you really look at it, and yes, there's a lot of bad stuff, but sometimes it's like the bad is good stuff.
Oh, I love
when you
them.
really look at it, there are some really great horror films in the 90s.
And I do feel like that is the decade that I kind of veer to the most when I'm at home and it's just me and I just want to watch a casual 90s thriller or crime thriller or kid thriller or horror movie. It tends to be just like a fun time, low key, don't have to think too much about it from the 90s.
Exactly. And you didn't use low key there in the like Gen Z sense, did you?
No, I did not. I would never.
Like, this is low key a good movie. Mikey is low key a good movie.
No. I mean like low key, like it's underwhelming.
You're using it in the traditional sense.
In the traditional sense, low key. I also use the word cringeworthy in the traditional sense. I know no one says cringeworthy. I don't even know if they say cringe anymore. But I remember when some of these words became rediscovered, like the word cringe, I was like, are you like cringing? Are you like recoiling inside?
Yeah.
Or are you just like, ew, it's gross?
So do you find Mikey cringeworthy or... Like
no,
this is
there were certain things that were very cringeworthy. Certain quotes from, let's say, the principal we'll get into this, when he's demanding that his little soccer team, his little team of fourth graders be skins and shirts.
Right.
And he's demanding that Mikey takes his shirt off. That was a little cringeworthy.
Certain depictions of indigenous peoples.
That was a bit cringeworthy. Yeah. So a bit problematic, I would say. That is my sense of the word cringeworthy.
Yeah. But as if you're an SNL fan, as Michael Che says, it's the 90s.
It's the 90s.
Anytime he has a bad joke, his follow-up is always, it's the 90s.
He's probably our age then.
Probably is.
He's exactly our age.
I want to say he's older than us.
Nah.
To be honest with you. All right. Well, let's get back into Mikey here. So this is a first time watch for both of us. It definitely reminds us and brings us back to that sort of 90s era of kids without parents or just like troubled kids in general. You've probably figured out by now that this is probably the story of a killer kid. It's not the first. There's a long history of killer kids in horror. Like, as you mentioned, The Bad Seed and Bloody Birthday. Those are two of our favorites for sure.
Yeah.
But this was sort of like a resurgence in the 90s of these killer kid type movies.
As a kid, I loved The Good Son.
The Good Son was one of my favorites as a kid and truly scared me.
It really did. I loved both Macaulay Culkin and Elijah Wood. I was like, oh, that's me. They're both me. No,
I would even throw in Pet Sematary in there as well because Gage was really a scary little kid.
Terrifying little boy.
All right. Well, let's get into the first half of Mikey.
Yes. So we will only be spoiling the first half right now because that's all that we've seen. So we open with little Mikey in the garage lighting matches. And his little sister Beth is watching, kind of disapproving, but also not saying no. And Mikey's just lighting a pile of newspaper ablaze. And mom comes in and is like, what are you doing? Stop that. You're always causing trouble. And then she slaps him full across the face.
What I loved about this was you got the ultimate classic 90s lines of, you're not my real mom.
Right.
And also, it's all your fault. So if you want to psychoanalyze the film just off of the opening scene and the reasons why Mikey might be the way that he is, you can just go to this.
And even in this opening, when he says, you're not my real mom, I was like, is he just wishful thinking or is he really adopted? We find out that he actually is adopted. And that's
well, the little sister tells Mikey, you're not my real brother.
Right. And so this kind of language is obviously perpetuated in this family, which is why Mikey has a complex.
Yes.
So he just feels troubled in general. And he just wanted to
Or is he just a fucking psycho?
I don't know. Spoiler for me, but I'm a little bit like Team Mikey at the moment.
Team Mikey.
He kind of has, it seems like he's been dealt a bad hand.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing to find out. Is he just a kid filled with trauma or is he a true psychopath?
Right.
So the good son was a true psychopath.
Right. So Macaulay Culkin was a psychopath from the get-go. Yeah. And he was like making dummies of people and throwing them off bridges. Mikey doesn't do anything like that. It just seems like Mikey is a little boy that wants to be loved so badly. And for the most part, he is a good little boy. Until things that he loves a bit too much, that he fixates on, are jeopardized. And then he gets upset.
And takes it out on everyone.
Yes.
All right. What else is going on here?
His first family, the Calvins, we have the mom who slaps him and then she's like, I'm mad at you. I'm going to go take a bubble bath now. So she goes upstairs and takes a bath. So luxurious.
Yeah. I thought we were going to get a nude scene. I was like, this is kind of a weird vibe.
Right. I was like, interesting.
Because it showed her legs all like
smooth,
about to
tan
get into the
legs.
bathtub and all the bubbles and everything, turning on the water.
But no, she just gets in and she hops on the phone with her friend Joanna and she's like, oh, why did we adopt him in the first place? And I'm like, poor Mikey. Meanwhile, downstairs, Mikey and his sister Beth are arguing because Mikey's like, you didn't stand up for me. You never get in trouble. And I'm like, oh, poor Mikey. Of course. The younger sister never gets in trouble. And so he grabs her doll because he's mad at her and tosses it in the pool and makes her fall in. Little Beth, though, I just want to point out this little actress is actually pretty good. When she's
Does she have any lines? She
does.
She's just like, Mikey, get up here. You're going outside without permission.
Mom, Mikey's outside without permission. See, there were rules in the 90s. They were not allowed to go outside without permission. But they do. And he throws her doll in the pool. She's on the diving board trying to reach it. And he's doing typical mean older brother thing and shaking the diving board.
That was cruel, yeah.
That seems pretty typical older brother, though. Like that to me in itself is not like psychopathic behavior. That's like brother being annoying because he's mad at you.
Okay, but I will tell you what is psychopathic behavior is standing there on the diving board watching your little adopted sister drown to death.
He was in shock. He didn't know what to do.
Do not be a psychopath defender here. Mikey is a true psycho.
I don't know yet.
Sociopath.
I don't know yet.
All right. Yeah.
I'm waiting till the end to see what really happens.
Okay.
I might change my tune, but at the moment I'm like, this kid has trauma.
Yeah.
So yes, it was really sad when Beth died because she couldn't swim and she was like, help me. Anyway, she
You hear
drowned.
like gurgling sounds off screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he goes upstairs to Mama and he's like, you never loved me. She's like, of course I do. And then he tosses a blow dryer in the bath with her. And then zap, she's done.
I think she easily could have gotten out of the bath before
She really could have. She wasn't that concerned. She was like, oh, this isn't funny, Mikey. He's like, it's not meant to be funny. And then he tosses it.
Yeah.
And I feel like this little kid is actually, his performance is also really good because he's not overdoing anything. He just has this kind of like half open stare and he's like, it's not meant to be funny. And he tosses it in the bathtub.
I mean, it is like typical 90s kid acting.
No, typical 90s kid acting would be like, it's not meant to be funny. Like too much facial tension. That's like the fault of little kid acting is like they put too much tension in their face.
Maybe, okay, well, how would you compare it to like a JTT?
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Because you would say that would be sort of, or even Macaulay.
Right.
These are like A-list kid actors.
I think it's
from the
comparable.
90s.
I think this kid that plays Mikey is comparable to JTT and Macaulay Culkin. He has a very naturalistic way about him in playing this potentially psychopathic kid.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe his natural demeanor leads to this sort of psychopath quality of him that he plays.
Also, in my review of the director's filmography, the director was primarily an actor. So it seems like we have an actor's director, which I think always leads to great performances in a film. So good job, Mr. Dennis
Dimster.
Dennis Dimster. He's directing very well so far. And then Daddy comes home and he's like, Daddy.
He's like, hey, what you doing? Waiting for you. After he's like has this giant like tube sock full of these metal balls that looks
marbles.
Looks like one of those like prison weapons. So I'm just like, all right, this kid is something else here.
They're marbles.
They were not marbles. They were steel balls.
They're small steel marbles that he lays on the floor in a very Kevin McAllister type way. And so when Daddy comes home, he's got his baseball bat right next to him. And Dad's like, do you want to play baseball? He's like, no. And then he looks off into the distance where his little sister Beth is in the pool. And the dad turns around. He's like, oh no, slips on the marbles and then dives through the glass window.
You can tell like the production only had one take on this stunt of Dad diving through the glass. The glass doesn't break when he hits through. He bounces off it and then continues to dive.
He's got to try extra hard. He's never dived through glass before. Poor actor.
So yeah, I mean, I can relate. The one take, that fake glass is expensive.
Yeah.
It was also the Child's Play thing when she's falling out the window. Aunt Maggie, she is a good 20 feet away from the window. He's a good, at least I would say
10 feet?
The whole room's worth.
Yeah.
And so he slips and then has to probably take like 5 steps to then get to the window to crash through the window.
He's wearing slippery shoes. They're non-gripping shoes. And so he dives through the window and then Mikey grabs his bat and bashes him in the head. That is probably the most sadistic thing that he does, is that, okay, watching his sister drown.
Yeah, I was going to say that's pretty sadistic.
Okay, watching his sister drown, though, that's passive sadistic. You know, this is actively sadistic.
Okay.
Being like passively sadistic, like you're standing by and you're like, okay, maybe the kid's in shock and he doesn't quite know what to do. And he's like in one of those situations where it's like, I could do something or I could just do nothing. Like in Breaking Bad, you know what I mean? And the mom, yes, he did not need to like throw that hairdryer into the bathtub. But also there's no contact between him and the person. He just throws something in. But with this, he is holding onto the bat and he's making contact with the dad's head.
Okay.
So this is the most forceful moment of being sadistic, being a psychopath.
Okay, yeah, if you want to go on the scale of sadism.
Yeah, on the scale of like passivity to aggression, this is the most aggressive death that he does.
But will it be the most? We'll see, because we're not sure yet. He hasn't really gotten into what he could possibly do. So we're not there yet.
And we also don't know his history with this family or his bio family. One more little tidbit here after dad's dead. We see that Mikey recorded the whole thing with his camcorder. Okay, later on, the detectives show up and they're like, oh my gosh, everyone's dead. Wait, there's one more. And they find poor Mikey hiding in a closet. And the 2 detectives, they obviously have some like sexual tension in history. And they're like, ugh, you again? Okay, let's do the best for this kid and get him adopted quick. He's got trauma because his bio family's out of the picture. This adoptive family's not out of the picture. We have to get him a new adoptive family immediately.
Yeah.
So one of the detectives is trying to pressure the aunt of the adoptive mom to adopt him. And she's like, no, you can't make me. And she's right.
I called her Sister Dice Clay because she has that awesome leather jacket with all the patches
cool
on.
Leather jacket.
Yeah, and her attitude, and she's smoking a cigarette.
And she's actually the most sound adult in the movie so far.
She is the smartest character in the movie
she's
so
like,
far. She's like, hell no, I'm not adopting
like,
this
you
little
can't
psychopath.
make me adopt him, can you? And the detective's like, no, I can't. She's like, great, then kiss him goodbye for me. Peace out.
Peace.
When Mikey is questioned by the detectives on who did the crimes, he's like, it was a man with bushy hair, a mustache, a red jacket, and a big brown car. And they're like,
he had that one already in the can somewhere.
And they're like, oh, why didn't he get you? And he's like, well, I was at the park at the time. And then I came home and I saw him kill my family. And I'm like, whoa, that was a pretty good.
They're like, enough said. All right, we believe you.
Yeah, that's a pretty good little lie. And then when he's in like the little social worker room, he's observing him play with this dollhouse. And he's got this whole backstory down. He's like imitating it.
He is reenacting the entire scene.
He's reenacting the scene according to his story.
Right.
Mom's like, okay, I'm going to go upstairs and take a bath, watch your sister. Okay, Mom. Enter the new adoptive family, the Trentons. Rachel, played by Mimi Craven, and Neil, played by John Deal. They don't have kids. They couldn't have kids. And now they have this opportunity to adopt this little 9-year-old 4th grade boy. That night, Rachel is like, all right, I don't need this pregnancy test. I've got a kid now. And now I can start looking forward.
How do you think they chose him?
I don't think they chose him. I think the detective was sifting through piles of parents that wanted to adopt children. And she came across this couple, and she's probably like, great, they can't have kids.
Don't tell them anything.
Don't tell them any backstory. We're going to seal his file so no one can look him up.
That seems a bit irresponsible, don't you think?
Of this detective?
Don't you think if a kid has some severe trauma, assuming he's a victim and witnessed his whole family murdered and has this sort of like really
traumatic backstory?
Yeah. Don't you think that would be disclosed to the new family so that he could remain in some sort of treatment?
I don't know.
It was the 90s.
It was the 90s. And also, this seems kind of like a new detective.
Are you basing that off of her outfit?
No.
Her long suit that went all the way down to her knees, and then her skirt also cut off exactly at the knees?
Yeah. Her former job was working at TJ Maxx, being a fashionista. And then she just got this job as a detective. She's learning as she goes.
Yeah. Are you sure she wasn't shopping at Mervyn's?
Oh, I did love Mervin's in the 90s.
That's probably where this shirt came from. This
From
gecko shirt.
Mervin's.
I used to love Mervin's.
R.I.P. Mervin's.
Yeah.
So now the Trentons have a new child.
Mikey wasted no time being comfortable calling them mom and dad.
Yeah. And they're so just like beside themselves. They're like, we can't believe it. We can't believe we have a kid. I'm like, okay, this is cute. There are no red flags here. He's calling us mom and dad. Perf.
We're also introduced to some new characters, the neighbor family. There's mom, I forget her name.
Who knows?
But then there's another kid who's Mikey's age. His name is Ben.
Who you might know as that little boy from Jurassic Park.
Who everyone thought was Jake Gyllenhaal. And then Dr. Alan Grant scared the crap out of him with a raptor claw. Yes, that kid. Yeah.
I just know him from his iconic line. That doesn't look very scary. More like a big turkey. And then Alan Grant gets pissed.
What year was Jurassic Park? 94?
93.
93. Okay, so this was the year before his breakthrough role.
In Jurassic Park. So we get Mikey and then we get him in Jurassic Park. Breakout role. So we have Ben who is going to be in his class. We also learn that Ben has a hot older sister named Jessie who's away at school currently. And they also have a cat named Rosie and a frog named Butch.
We're also introduced to a very familiar face in horror.
Ashley Lawrence shows up.
From Hellraiser.
From Hellraiser, yes. And she is going to be his 4th grade teacher, Ms. Gilder.
Everything is seeming to work out for Mikey. He's in this beautiful suburban house with a really cool 90s style of decor, where it's just sort of like minimal yet random.
Right. No painted walls at the moment. Just like a lot of like stuff. And
a lot of pastels.
Maybe pastels. I don't know. There's a fish tank.
Well, this is Mom's job, which is to set up fish tanks. But the fish tanks look a little basic, don't you think?
They're basic, but also this fish tank that we saw in Ben's house that has like another sub fish tank inside the fish tank that has like little babies in it. And Mikey's like, why are they separated from the mom? And Rachel's like, because the mom will eat her babies. Interesting. Is that going to come into play later?
Ooh, yeah, maybe we'll see.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
Also, when we are introduced to Miss Gilder and Mikey finds out that she's going to be his teacher, she's like, don't expect any favors though, because I'm friends with your mom. I was like, that's kind of rude.
She didn't say it like that, though. She's just joking.
Yeah, well, she should have said it nicer.
Well, I side with Miss Gilder because
I don't know about that.
She's a second-year teacher, and I can relate with that.
I feel like she's overreacting to this little boy with trauma. Anyway, we get a fun scene, a fun problematic 90s scene of new daddy and Mikey going bow and arrow shooting in very problematic apparel. But Mikey is a great shot with the bow and arrow, which might come up later.
It's like we're setting up all of the, what do you call them? The Chekhov's guns?
All the little Chekhov arrows.
Yeah, what do we have so far? We have a bonfire in the garage.
Yes.
We have a drowning. We have his baseball bat murder weapon, which he was allowed to keep. Still has the dent in it.
Keep it, but no blood, so he washed it off. We have a camcorder.
His bow and arrow.
We have a bow and arrow. We have a cat and a frog, and we have a fish tank with a fish that eats its babies.
Yeah, we'll have another Chekhov's gun in a moment as well.
Yes. After the first day of school, Ben and Mikey are walking home, and Ben kind of goads Mikey into going through the cemetery. He's like, come on, are you scared? And Mikey's like, no, I'm not scared. Watch this.
It's a classic shortcut through any neighborhood.
Classic shortcut.
The cemetery, yeah.
And then obviously Ben was scared, and Mikey goes and lays down on a grave, and he's like, dead people aren't the ones to be afraid of. It's the living that are more scary.
That was a cold line. That was reminiscent of The Good Son.
That was a very Good Son line. Yeah. And Ben's like, gulp.
He's like, oh shit.
He looks very worried. Red flag number 2 at school. Mikey cheats at the marble game, or tries to cheat, and Miss Gilder catches him.
Okay, Miss Gilder as a second-year teacher with this crazy contraption that she uses so like basically the kids can earn marbles that go towards this thing that's like on a pivot. Right. And if they put a marble in, it has the chance of like setting off that machine.
Chain reaction, mousetrap style.
Yeah. That will then reveal a prize. I'm like, damn, this is if that were my teacher, I would be doing all my homework because that was insane. That was like a great strategy right there.
But also they said that it was going to be a prize for the whole class. And obviously it was just a prize for the one person. So it's kind of misleading. But anyway, he tries to cheat and put an extra marble in the contraption. And Miss Gilder catches him. And she's like, whoa, let me talk to you about this, kid. It's no fun to cheat because you're not going to really earn it. So I'm not going to tell your parents, but you are. I'm going to trust you that you're going to tell your parents about this.
Good. She's a good, stern second-year teacher.
I'm just like, let it go, lady. He's a new kid. Give him a warning. And then if he does it again.
She's testing him. She wants to see, are you a psychopath? As a teacher should evaluate all new students.
As
coming
psychopaths?
into school. Yeah. Are you a psychopath or are you a regular kid?
What about innocent good kid until proven psychopath?
Yeah. And I shouldn't use that word regular because I feel like that is problematic. But anyways,
I feel like she's not operating like, innocent good kid until proven psychopath. She's operating like you're all psychopaths until proven innocent.
she's trusting her gut feeling. Okay.
I don't like her gut feeling because I feel like it's wrong. Anyway, third red flag, though, this one is probably the most problematic, is that around Thanksgiving time, she catches Mikey drawing a cute little picture of a turkey chopping a pilgrim's head off.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, I don't think that's a bad picture because what else is the turkey supposed to do? It's going to get eaten by that pilgrim if he doesn't do this first. It's kind of like the turkey is in a killed or be killed situation. And that's what Mikey is depicting. He even says, well, the pilgrim was going to eat the turkey, so the turkey fixed him.
So Mikey just doesn't like being punished. He's afraid of being told that it's all your fault.
Right. Mikey feels like he's the turkey. He is this tiny creature in this world full of bad adults.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. That just makes me think about the second half of the movie.
Yeah.
But I didn't write in my predictions, but this is why we needed to talk about it.
This is why we talk about it, because
Yeah.
I just feel like that this picture is very telling of his past trauma.
Right.
This is why Mikey is drawing this picture of this turkey killing the pilgrim. It's not scary. It's more defensive. Mikey feels like the turkey. And Miss Gilder is not picking up on this. She's just like, what a creepy little kid. I'm going to go tell on you.
Yeah. And she's right.
She's not right.
I side with Miss Gilder.
I side with Mikey at the moment.
I love her fashion. I feel like her fashion would fit in today.
Yeah,
it
it's
is
very cute.
I think we were talking about like, it looks like she bought all of her clothes at Madewell.
Oh yeah, she's got some like cool like suede fringe jackets. Even mom has like some really nice denim oversized jackets and some denim skirts.
They just made denim better back then.
They made denim better.
This is before fast fashion.
Yes, denim to last, everybody. The 90s. Some problematic things and some things that were great.
So at this point, we're introduced to the principal, who we also recognize from other movies.
Lyman Ward, who was the dad in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Also in Not Another Teen Movie as Jake Weiler's dad.
He was also the dad of Grady in Nightmare on Elm Street 2. It wasn't a huge role, but he was in it.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because later on, he does mention Nightmare on Elm Street 2. It comes back again. And Mimi Craven, who plays Rachel, the mom, she is the ex-wife of Wes Craven, and she played a nurse in Nightmare on Elm Street 1.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So we have a lot of these like little Nightmare on Elm Street connections here in this movie. So maybe the director's a fan or the writer's a fan. Who knows?
Just little Easter eggs to
little
throw
Easter
in there.
eggs in there. So anyway, Miss Gilder goes running to the principal and she's like, look at this picture. And the principal has this great line. He's like, it's a little weird. Who did it? You? She's like, no, one of my students did it. And he's like, well, no need to be an alarmist, you second-year teacher.
It does seem like he's dismissing her, but he does follow up with it. So I guess he gets a slight pass.
Yeah.
But just the way that he spoke with her, it did seem like he was being dismissive.
It was very dismissive and patronizing. Like, yeah, I made you read this book because I had to, and you weren't supposed to take everything to heart. But she's trying to follow up with it and do her due diligence as a teacher. And he's just like, whatever, lady. Like, I liked monster movies as a kid, too. He probably likes, horror movies. No big deal.
Yeah.
And
he does follow up on it, though.
He does, because later on, we see that he's coaching the kids' soccer team. He's like, all right, everyone, we're doing skins and shirts. Skin, shirt. Mikey, you're going to be a skin. And Mikey's like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to take my shirt off. He's like, just take your shirt off. What's the big deal? And Mikey's like, I'm allergic to the sun. He's like, fine, whatever. Be a shirt. Get out of here, kid.
Great way to handle that.
Yeah. So at first he's like being weird and aggressive. And then he's like, whatever, I don't really care. So then later he talks to Mikey because he's like, okay, well, strike one, you made this weird picture. And strike two, you didn't want to be a skin during soccer practice. So I'm going to talk to you about this. Why do you want to take your shirt off, Mikey?
That was a weird line when he's like, what's wrong with taking your shirt off? Why didn't you want to take your shirt off? It's not a big deal.
It's really weird.
It's like not weird, but it was just weird how it was delivered.
Like with this principal, half of his lines are weird and the other half are like, oh yeah, I get it.
I think it's just the writing. I don't know. I don't think it was like the actor's delivery.
Interesting.
Like taken out of context, it could be a very odd
Right. So it's like,
thing.
It wasn't intended to be weird, but he just wanted to get to the bottom of it. Like, why don't you want to take your shirt off during soccer? And the kid's like, well, I can't remember how it came up. The principal's like, so what kind of movies do you like? And the kid's like, I like scary movies like Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street. And the principal's like, oh, cool. Is that why you don't want to take your shirt off? Because you feel like Freddy Krueger? He's like, maybe. Also, my other family was bad.
Yeah. So here's the thing. You get kids talking, they will eventually let the truth out.
They let the truth out. And now the principal's like, how do you mean? What do you mean they're bad?
He didn't press on it, though. He kind of just let Mikey talk, which is the correct way to handle it.
It is. And Mikey kind of like avoids it and walks away and sees a skeleton. He's like, oh, that skeleton, is that a real dead body? And principal's like, yeah.
Yeah, it was the same age as you when it died.
Same age as you. And Mikey's like, how did he die? And poor Mikey, he looks so worried and scared when he's looking at this skeleton of this boy who was probably his age. And so I'm like, what happened to Mikey? I just feel like there's more in his past that is leading him down this path.
We're going to find out in the second half.
Poor Mikey. Anyway, we finally get to meet the hot neighbor, Jessie. She comes home from school and she sees her little brother, Ben, with a dead body of Mikey in front of him. And Ben's like, help me, Jessie, help me. He's not breathing.
It's the classic Sandlot trick.
Classic. And she's like, wise to this. And she's just like, okay, is he not breathing? Does he have a pulse? I'm going to try. And so she checks his pulse and she's like, oh my gosh, he has no pulse. How long has he been like this? That's like,
she only checked on the wrist. She didn't check on the neck. She also didn't shake him or slap him or anything like that.
And back in the 90s, was anyone really that good at checking for a pulse? I
don't think so, yeah. And also, she went straight for mouth to mouth as a way to revive him.
She didn't even do any compressions. No compressions. And they always say, if anything, do just compressions and skip the mouth to mouth.
Yeah, these are things they didn't know in the 90s.
She didn't even try to break his xiphoid process to get those compressions. Anyway, turns out, tricked ya. She locked lips with Mikey and he wasn't her at all.
He's in love.
She's like, well, you were a pretty good kisser, which I thought that's weird.
That's also a very 90s thing.
Weird 90s things to say
where
from older
teens
people
talking to younger kids and saying like, you're a great kisser, or I don't know.
But Mikey was really good at being bashful. He looked so cute. He's like, oh, shucks. And he looked like he was blushing. So then later that night, Mikey sneaks through her window because he's in love with her now because they locked lips, and he watches her sleep. His cover's almost blown by Butch, the family frog. Interesting. And so he's under the bed.
Wait, yeah, why was the frog there in the first place?
Because when Ben and Mikey were playing with the frog earlier, Mikey tried scaring Ben with a skull and was like, it's listening to you. And Ben's like, that's not funny. And then he dropped his frog, Butch, and his cat, Rosie, ran after it. Anyway, he couldn't find his frog. So his frog was out loose that whole day. And then, of course, in comes the frog when Mikey's trying to spy on Jessie. Mm-hmm. So Mikey's under the bed now trying to hold the frog's mouth shut so that Jessie doesn't hear them. And then after the coast is clear, Mikey goes downstairs to the fish tank and feeds the frog to the giant fish in the fish tank. So Butch is dead.
And he filmed it. So
he filmed it, which was weird. So this is now leading to more psychopathic behavior. He killed his...
So are you still siding with him?
I'm going back and forth. So it's like, okay, he killed his family, his adoptive family previously. And now he's kind of like, he's regressed and now he's okay. And now he's starting up on hurting animals, which is always like one of the first signs of psychopathic behavior. That's the telltale sign
of a sociopath and of a serial killer.
Yes. So he fed the frog to the family fish because it almost blew his cover with Jessie. So he wanted revenge.
But he's not done with Jessie.
He
has now this newfound crush on Jessie. So he's spying on her as she's sunbathing by the pool. And of course, Mom and Ben, they go off to the grocery store to do whatever they got to do. And here comes Mikey asking kind of coy, like, where's Ben?
Where's Ben? She's like, oh, he's gone. He's like, oh, well, shucks. Do you want to go into a paddle boat in the lake with me? Jesse's like, well, as long as you don't try anything, because you are a really good kisser.
It was her idea to go out to the lake, by the way. She said, like, are you bored? And he's like, yeah, kind of. She's like, well, I was about to go out to the lake. You want to come with me? He's like, yeah.
Oh, okay. So he just goes over there to see her, knowing that Ben's gone out of the way. Okay. And then she wants to go to the lake. And then she's like, well, don't try anything because you're a good kisser and, you know, stuff. They're like, oh, man. So they get into the paddle boat and Mikey's like, so why do you have to go away to go to school? And Jesse's like, well, I got kicked out of my old school around here because I was bad.
Yes. So we're getting some backstory.
Yeah. So Mike is like, what'd you do? Kill someone? He's like trying to see if she's like him.
Are you like me?
Are you just like me? And she's like, ha ha ha, you're so funny. Kids these days. Anyway, she jumps into the water, does a little swim, and then gets out. And she she catches Mikey looking at her. And she's like, Mikey, it's okay to look, but not stare. But looking's okay. And I'm just like, lady, these are all like bad things that you're saying to this little 9-year-old. You're obviously supposed to be like 16 years old.
If you want to psychoanalyze this moment in the 90s, maybe this led to a lot of problems for future generations of how the treatment of women and relationships and just general serial killer behaviors and all that.
Yeah, all that stuff. So Mikey, yes, he has his crush. It is sealed. And later on that night, he's watching some home movies in his bedroom, and it's the movie of his murder of his adoptive family. And
this is when we saw that scene where the dad is crashing through the window.
Yeah.
Because I always think whenever there is a recorded event in a movie, like, wow, they framed that up perfect. The lighting, the sound, beautiful cinematography, Mikey. You had the perfect placement. But anyways, then Dad's crashing through the window, and I noticed it didn't look like he got through.
He really had to try. Yeah. He shoved his way through that window.
And it was actually kind of funny, the scene, so we rewound it a couple of times.
We did watch it a few times. And
had
then
some chuckles.
Yes. And then new Dad walks in. He's like, what are you watching? And Mikey very coolly says, just a horror movie. And Dad turns it off. He's like, oh.
Doesn't see what it is. Doesn't see that it's a home recording.
It was high quality, so I could see why. Mikey did a good job. Yeah. And he's like, I don't like you watching those things, Mikey. And Mikey's like, okay, well, tell me about girls in love. How do you know that you love somebody? And Dad's like, well, you just feel kind of good all over. Do you love someone, Mikey? Mikey's like, no, I don't think so. Dad's like, okay, well, let me know. And then Dad leaves. Mikey pulls out his camcorder and he sets it on Jesse's window, which is right across the way from his.
Yeah, he's all up in that tree. He's perving on her. Like when he snuck in on her the night before, he was like climbing into her window. Mm-hmm. So now he's got the camcorder. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the camcorder, and her window is like the blinds are wide open. I don't even think she has blinds.
I don't think she has blinds.
No blinds.
She definitely doesn't have a lock on her window. Nothing.
No locks, no blinds, because it's the 90s. And she is taking off her shirt, lighting candles, and Mikey's like, wow, this is going to be a great movie.
Seems like a fire hazard with the candles.
Seems like a fire hazard, but then enters boyfriend David, and Mikey is pissed and walks off screen.
Did we mention that we've already been introduced to David? We might have skipped over David.
We did skip over David.
When Jessie got home from school, wherever she was.
After she gave mouth to mouth.
David was waiting in her room. I guess this is the thing to do, just kind of casually waiting in someone's room to surprise them as they come home.
It was a big thing in the 90s to climb into someone's window and just wait for them, or you just climb into the window anyway.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Scream. Yeah, I'm thinking of Clarissa Explains It All.
Clarissa and Sam. Windows were like a very close second to the door. If you didn't want to use the door, the window was always an option.
But I think Scream kind of put a squash on that, because now it's just like, all right, we know the type of people who climb into windows.
Murderers.
Yeah, they are the serial killers. Yeah.
So Billy's character in Scream is probably based off of Mikey.
Yes, keep telling yourself that.
Interesting.
You heard it first here, horror fans. You have the Nightmare on Elm Street connection, so there's the Cravens and the Scream connection here.
Yes. So Mikey is like a proto-Billy. Like, this is what Billy was like when Billy was in 4th grade.
That makes a lot of sense.
And then he had to move. And then he met Sydney. Interesting. Yes, Mikey is the exact kind of psychopath that Billy becomes, I feel like.
Or we're onto something here.
I think we're onto something.
All right.
Okay. And that's where we had to stop, where Jesse and boyfriend David are going to have a romantic evening at home.
There's a couple other things that happen in this first half that need to be mentioned
Yes.
that were just sort of plot building scenes. They were just sort of like side scenes,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, maybe one of them is definitely a big part of the plot, which is that the teacher, Miss Gilder, is kind of taking matters into her own hands.
Because she's suspicious that Mikey lied or tried to cheat on the marble game. And
Well, here's the thing about teachers is it is important to build relationships with your students and know about your students. And no one's telling her about Mikey. She goes to the records room and is trying to find about his personal past. And
they're
it's
like,
all sealed. And
they're like, this is sealed. I can't tell you. And
Yeah.
I'm like, obviously, lady,
she doesn't care
HIPAA.
about that. So she has to find out. She figures out that Mikey is a good speller. He can spell the word assassin.
I'm like, why would you give him that word? Like,
And then just from talking to him, she finds out that he won the spelling bee last year at his old school in El Cajon, which is near San Diego.
but I think, didn't they say El Cajon in Arizona?
Maybe Arizona. Okay, yeah.
I think
these are
that
probably fake places.
I think his previous school was supposed to be in El Cajon, Arizona.
I don't know if that is a place, but he won the spelling bee, so she calls up his former teacher.
And these teachers like to chat.
The teachers are just spilling out all the
They don't
info.
care about sealed files.
Like,
And
Mikey, you mean the one who had his whole family murdered in front of
Mikey
him?
Kelvin, he used to be Mikey Kelvin. His whole family was murdered. Poor kid. Miss Gilder. She already has a full-time job as a teacher, which is hard enough. And now she's moonlighting as a detective on the side.
Yeah.
All because Mikey cheated at the marble game and drew one creepy picture.
And I think her character inspired the teacher from Cobweb. That
Who was a substitute teacher?
Who was also doing a similar sort of investigation.
Getting
into
paid
this thing.
$90 a day to, moonlight as a social worker. Another little side plot here that will probably come up later on. Mommy Rachel gave teacher Gilder her handgun.
They're just hanging out, walking through town, and just the line literally came out of nowhere where Rachel's like, hey, you're still thinking about getting a gun, right?
And Gilder's like, yeah, I am.
And then she goes, like, here you go. And she's got like a gun wrapped in a handkerchief and just like stuffs it into her purse.
I did like Gilder's reaction to it. She's like, oh my gosh, you're doing this right now. All right, guess I'm packing. Let's go.
This was also the scene where I noticed their fashion, by the way.
Their fashion was
where I was
great
just
in
like,
this
wow,
scene.
I think this fashion would work today.
I think that's why they kept this scene in. It's for the fashion. What do you think the overall message is supposed to be in this movie?
Kid psychopath.
Kids are psychopaths. But do you think
just kid psychopath.
kid psychopath. Do you think there's an overarching theme of horror movies create psychos?
So you really think that this inspired Scream
I think it's inspiring Scream
and The Good Son?
and The Good Son, for sure.
I think it's probably one of those things where it's like kids seem so innocent, but they are the ones to fear.
But Mikey just seems like such a good kid. Like, he really wants to do good. When he's in the park with his parents, Rachel and Neil, he sees this older couple walk off without their purse. And he runs over without hesitating, grabs the purse, runs up to the older woman and says, excuse me, miss, I think you forgot this. And she turns around. She's like, oh my goodness, what
Perfect
a good
gentleman.
boy. Here's
You earned
some
yourself
money.
$50.
Here's $50. And he's like, no, that's okay. You keep it. And the older man's like, wow, you two raised a good son here.
These scenes are gold.
So good. And the older lady's like, and I think he has your eyes. And Rachel's just gushing. And she's like, oh, thank you.
Oh my God.
Also, there was a scene where he's watching one of those like America's Funniest Home Video
Definitely
shows.
created a lot of psychopaths.
Yes. And it's like, oh no, don't look in the closet, little boy. And the little boy on the screen opens the closet and a whole closet full of like toys and balls falls on him and he passes out. And it's like, ha ha ha, laugh track. So I feel like that's going to come up a little bit later too.
Violence in the media was a big
Violence
thing.
in media. So with horror movies, also with funny shows for kids like America's Funniest Home Videos, and then other funny movies for kids such as Home Alone. So I feel like all of these are going to be like part of the overarching message that the media is creating little tiny psychopaths.
Oh, okay.
What the heck are you watching?
Just a horror film.
All right. We were just so enthralled talking about Mikey.
That we weren't recording for like a full hour.
Well, we're recording on the video. So we did insert some clips.
If you're watching on YouTube and you notice that we had a lot more clips than usual, that's why, because we lost the video footage, but had the audio. So that's cool.
We stopped at the first half of Mikey, where he is creeping in on his new crush, Jessie.
Yeah, he's filming her as she's about to have a romantic evening at home with her boyfriend, David. And Mikey is pissed and walks off screen. Cut.
All right. So prediction number 1 is that the cat is going to get dunked. And I have these little taglines. I forgot the name of the cat. Rosie gets dunked. We are going to see a bad puppet cat floating in the tank, possibly being recorded by Mikey.
Of course he's going to record it because it's Mikey and he wants to relive all of his amazing moments. That leads to my first prediction. It says neighbor's cat is going to die and it's going to look like an accident. I mean, yes, he already killed his previous adoptive family, but now he's kind of gone back and he's become like a good kid and he's starting to pick up on these old habits, pre-psychopathy behavior, like killing animals. He already fed Butch the pet frog to that big fish in the fish tank.
So he's going to try it with the cat.
Now he's going for the next thing bigger, which is the cat.
You said that the cat is going, it's going to look like an accident and the cat's going to be pummeled pummeled by things in the closet like we saw in the video that he was watching earlier.
He was watching like America's Funniest Home Videos show and there was like a little boy that opened up a closet full of junk and got crushed with like balls and boxes and then there was a laugh track like ha ha ha, so funny. So I think this is like a post Home Alone situation where Mikey is going to set a trap for this cat and it's going to get crushed and it's going to be like, oh no, Rosie died. Yes.
And then that led into my prediction number 3. When you mentioned closet full of junk as a booby trap, I think that that was also something that's going to be the Chekhov's gun. And in my situation, my prediction is that Dad discovers the tapes that Mikey has been creating and Mikey is about to get busted. And we all know that that's the thing that Mikey hates most is getting in trouble.
Yeah.
So he has a backup plan. Because he is a kid of the 90s and Home Alone is a thing, he uses the house as a booby trap and he's going to use the closet full of junk trap to either slow down Dad or possibly kill Dad. So I don't think that it's going to actually kill Dad. But I do think that Dad's going to get like stunned or knocked out.
He'll get sent to the hospital and he'll just be like written out of the script.
We never see him again.
Right. So we won't have to deal with Dad anymore.
It's too many characters. We have to start getting
We got to whittle these down.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Dad goes to the hospital. I like that. I think that boyfriend David is going to discover the tape. And then Mike is going to be like, well, I'm going to kill you now with my bow and arrow.
Because we know that bow and arrow is going to come into play.
It's going to come up again. And he's a really great shot.
Yeah. And for those of you who have seen the movie, we need to talk about Kevin. You know, that bows and arrows and kids who are sociopaths are just not a good combo. So this
probably inspired, we need to talk about Kevin.
Probably did, yes. This was a foundational kid killer movie.
Yeah. This and Home Alone all led to, we need to talk about Kevin.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, so my prediction is that David gets dumped. That's the tagline. And it's the old meet me at the boat for a midnight swim bit where Mikey is posing as Jessie and lures David out. So it could be a note or it could be a phone call. I think he's going to
write like little scrawled kid note and David's kind of dim and he's not going to be like, wow, Jesse's handwriting sucks, but yeah, I'll meet you by the boat.
That's right. And then David is going to meet his fate via arrow.
And I like that because if he meets his fate via arrow and then falls into the lake, his body will kind of drift away and we won't see him show up until maybe later.
Right. When everything's kind of coming to, it's sort of like now all of the bodies that are collecting or hidden are now
washed
coming
on
to the
shore.
surface. Yeah.
Yes.
Prediction number 4. I was kind of trying to think of what the final showdown was going to look like. And I think that Mikey is going to end up taking Jessie hostage because he's trying to only have her, like he only wants her.
You're mine.
Yeah, he's gonna get a little possessive.
Yes.
It's gonna get weird. But Miss Gilder, out there doing detective work, is now linking up with the detectives that we saw in the very first part of the film.
Yeah, because full-time teachers have so much time on their hands.
She needs a second job. Teachers don't get paid that much.
That's true.
She's gonna say like, hey, look, I solved the case. Can I join the force?
Yeah.
Anyways, come on with me out here to Arizona and let's go get this kid Mikey, because there is no man in the red jacket with the puffy hair.
Yeah, and that led me to one of my predictions where I said the man with the bushy hair, mustache, and red jacket is going to be a TV show personality, and the cops are going to see this and be like, what? That sounds a lot like the description of the assailant in that one case. That means Mikey was lying. I need to go find Mikey now and warn that family. I thought the TV personality was going to be like maybe the host of that America's Funniest Home Video show.
Oh, that would be really funny.
So if they're watching that and it's like some guy with puffy hair and a mustache and a red jacket.
That would be clever though.
I have a feeling that the overarching theme of this movie or the lesson is that like media and entertainment are creating little kid psychopaths.
Yeah.
In Scream, Billy Loomis says horror movies don't create psychos. Horror movies make psychos more creative. So that was like the rebuttal to all of these earlier 90s movies like Mikey, where they're going to be like these home video shows and Home Alone are all precursors to psychopathic behavior. And then Scream's like, nah, it was already there to begin with.
My whopper and fifth and final prediction was kind of the final showdown. Who is going to have their moment? Who's going to take out Mikey? And so I think that it might be Rachel Trenton. I think that we're sort of led to believe it's going to be Miss Gilder at this point, but I have a feeling it's going to be Rachel Trenton, Mikey's new adoptive mom. And she knows she has that Glock that she gave to Miss Gilder, so she's going to like get that back somehow.
I need that back.
Yeah, and then she's going to have to make some sort of good son type of choice with Mikey at the end, and Mikey's going to have this really sort of like final tender moment where he's like, Mom, I love you. And then he gets blasted. Just awful of me to think, but hey, I'm thinking like the 90s.
Yeah.
What would be shocking for this movie?
Yeah.
How is this going to end?
Like in The Good Son, does she let him just fall to his death? I don't know. Okay, so my final climax prediction was that Teacher Gilder would uncover the truth and she will have to shoot Mikey with her new gun. That's why she has the new gun, because she's the one that has to use it against Mikey.
We know this gun is going to come into play.
It's got to come up because the way that they revealed it was so awkward that you're like, there's no way this gun's not going to show up. Hey, I have this gun. Do you still want one? Here you go.
Yeah.
But I have one more prediction. I had a prediction that Mommy Rachel Trenton would get actually pregnant.
Was this your whopper?
It wasn't
like
my whopper. It was like
prediction?
a side prediction because she had that pregnancy test in the beginning. Then she threw it in the trash can. She's going to have to buy another one because she's going to suspect that she's actually pregnant with a biological child, and which Mikey's is going to make Mikey jealous.
Yeah.
And he's going to be like, you don't love me. You love your new baby. And I'm mad at you. I don't know if he's going to try to thwart her pregnancy, but whatever. I do think that Miss Gilder is going to be the one in the end to have to put Mikey down.
Mikey's not going to make it to Mikey 2.
There's no Mikey 2. And I feel like Mikey never had a chance. Like he never had like a doting family to like guide him in the right direction.
Is there going to be something revealed about Mikey's original family?
I really hope we find out.
He was blamed for their death because he doesn't like getting in trouble or he doesn't like being blamed.
He doesn't like being blamed, but like what kid does? And he also tells Ben, they're not dead, his bio parents.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, are they not dead?
He also said that they weren't good.
They weren't good and he won't take his shirt off. So are we going to see a moment where he takes off his shirt and he has a bunch of scars?
Oh, interesting.
And does he have burn marks? Did he burn his bio family in a fire?
That's what I was thinking, because it's like the opening scene where he's like lighting newspaper on fire.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that they might even do a flashback to that opening scene and it's like a headline of family dies in fire.
I got it. His favorite character is Freddy Krueger, who is a burn victim.
Yeah.
It's like a murderer full of burn marks.
Yeah.
He loves Freddy Krueger. So I do have a feeling that when we have the reveal of his shirt coming off, that he's going to have burn marks that were inflicted by his own actions. So his bio family wasn't bad. He just didn't like them because they got him in trouble for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And he decided to burn the house down.
Wow. Okay. So these are bonus predictions. But I think these are good ones.
I think they're good.
So if we get this correct, is it like a point for each of us?
Yes.
All right. Not that our point system
they
really
all matters
too much. I am super excited to watch the second half of Mikey and be back with our predictions.
We'll be back and we will press record and have enough memory space.
Catch you later.
Cool dudes.
Dude.
This is it, Mikey. We're home.
Wow. It's really neat.
Welcome to your new home, Chief. I think you're going to be real happy here.
And we are back. We have now finished the full film.
Several times. It's been a week.
Such transparency here.
Yeah.
The Gutted Horror Podcast.
Well, we meant to do it right after, but then couldn't because there are some loud noises outside. And then I got the flu. Tony's about to get the flu, so we had to film real quick now.
Yeah.
We really dove deep. Dived deep? What's the past tense of dive? Dived deep.
Let's get into it. We have the second half of Mikey. What is going on, Elise?
All right. So we left off. Mikey was watching Mikey's Funniest Home Videos, aka his foster family dying. And then Dad came in and said, no more horror movies.
Doesn't check to see what movie it is, just turns it off.
It's the 90s. And Mikey's like, okay, Dad. And he pulls out his trusty camcorder. I really like this shot when he pulls out his camcorder. He's like kind of framed from the side. He looks really sneaky. And he's like, what's my neighbor Jessie doing? She is getting ready for a romantic evening in with her boyfriend David. Mikey doesn't like this.
No.
So he thwarts them by throwing a rock at the window. And then David's like, I'm going to go investigate. Who is that? Your other lover? It's nobody. But he does see Rosie the cat.
Poor Rosie. We all know what's going to happen to Rosie.
We all know. Rosie gets it. Mikey finds her, and from a bush, he snaps her poor little neck.
That was really sad.
So sad. Poor little Rosie.
Did you think about turning the movie off at that point?
I was like, I'm done with this, Mikey.
Or did it change your tune about Mikey because you were over here singing his praises as like, something must have happened to him?
He had trauma. Yes, he did feed his neighbor's family frog to the family giant fish and recorded it. That was kind of a sign. But then once he snapped Rosie's neck so coldly and then placed her body under the tire of David to make it look like he killed her, then I was like, all right, Mikey, you are a little psychopath.
Yeah. And Mikey's psychopathism, how would you say that? His psychopath level. Well, he probably already started out at like a 7, but he's ramping it up now. He's at an 11.
Yeah. Well, with his previous family, you're like, I don't know what they did to him, but he did escalate to like a triple homicide pretty quick within one day. Near arson and then a triple homicide.
Yeah.
And then maybe he was like rehabilitated with his new family. He just needed some love. But he is showing psychopathic behavior with the frog and then bigger animals like the cat.
We both had the cat Rosie dying.
We did. So check off that one. We both called it. I didn't want it to happen, but we could tell.
I also had that the cat was going to get dunked in the fish tank.
Oh, I mean, we both knew Cat was going to die.
I'm going to give myself a half point.
No.
Because I'm honest. I'm not a psychopath like Mikey.
Just because you might fib a little bit doesn't make you a psychopath. I say...
It starts with a fib and ends with you snapping a cat's neck in half and recording
like
it.
A whole family blowing up in a house.
Fun.
Full point. My next prediction was that the boyfriend David was gonna die.
I think that was pretty obvious as well.
The way in which he died, we did not get that correct. You thought he was going to get arrowed in the gut or something.
But I think we both had the same idea that Mikey needed to make it seem like an accident because he still had more killings to do.
Yeah, and he was going to be a pretty early killing. And actually, he is our first human that gets killed in this new venture of his, this new family circle.
Yeah.
So after David's forgiven for killing Rosie, the family cat, Jessie and David have a romantic evening in the hot tub. Mikey's jealous again, turns on his trusty camcorder, and while Jessie's distracted in the house, a prank phone call from Mikey goes over to David and said, you shouldn't be in a hot tub so close to this boombox. It's dangerous. David's like, get out of here, kid. And he kicks the boombox in the water.
Yeah, his classic move is electrocution. That's his like main way to kill people.
After he kills David, Jessie's like, oh no, why did we have the boombox so close to the water? She does believe it's an accident. shouldn't.
Yeah.
Until Mikey goes over to her and says, now you can love only me. She starts to put the pieces together. At school, Miss Gilder catches Mikey giving himself a little prison tattoo with a little push pin. He's making like a little heart in his arm as he gazes at a picture of Jessie. And she's like, these are some more red flags.
Tons of red flags.
I'm going to call a parent-teacher conference with Mommy Rachel and Daddy Neil. And they're like, you're out of line, Gilder. You don't know. And then immediately after Mommy gets home, Mikey is pissed because Mommy Rachel sold the goldfish. And he's like, they were my goldfish, mine. I hate you.
So that's the thing that sets him off is the goldfish.
The goldfish.
Yeah.
He wanted the goldfish. And Mommy Rachel's like, why are you freaking out over goldfish? They're just fish. He's like, I hate you. You're not my real mom. Classic line from Mikey. Mom's like, I need a bath.
With no bubbles. What a psychopath.
She's kind of a psychopath.
And then we have this like random nude scene with Mikey involved.
She's nude
it's
in the
kind
bath.
of bizarre, right?
And Mikey's like, Mommy, I'm sorry. I have flowers for you. And she's like, oh, Mikey, learn to knock.
Yeah. It's sort of, he's kind of repeating the same things that he did before with the previous family.
Yeah.
The electrocution bit, the walking in on mom taking a bath, all of that.
But Mom kind of seems to know how to handle Mikey in this situation. She says, okay, go ahead and go downstairs and put the flowers in some water. I'll come down in a bit. And he picks up the curling iron that's plugged into the wall. He's like, if I put this in the water, would it electrocute you like an electric chair? And Mom's like, yeah, it would. Be a good boy now and unplug it from the wall, please. And he thinks about it, and he does. He unplugs it and then walks out of the bathroom. And that's when Rachel's like, oof, I'm putting some things together now. So now Jessie, Rachel, and Gilder are all putting things together at the same time. Gilder is in the library sleuthing. She finds out that Mikey's previous family all died in a triple homicide, and Mikey was the lone survivor. She tells the principal and he's like, all right, we got to go tell this family quick. They're rushing over to Mikey's house to warn Rachel. Rachel is accosted by Jessie and she's like, your son is a psychopath. And Rachel's like, calm down. That's my kid. She shoos Jessie away and Mikey overhears this conversation. He's like, all right, now I got to take out Mom because Mom's getting too
like
close.
Everyone knows now. So now I'm just going to release my inner psycho.
My inner psycho. Let's give ourselves a point for boyfriend David dying.
My prediction was that David gets dumped. The old meet me at the boat for a midnight swim bit. I feel like you're being generous today.
Well, because we were both kind of on the same page. I did say boyfriend David was going to get dead, possibly shot with an arrow. He did not get shot with an arrow, but he did get dead. So fine, if you're going to do half a point, I'll do half a point. I just don't like all these half points. Principal and Gilder are en route trying to make it to Rachel's home. And Rachel goes upstairs to talk to Mikey. And he's watching Mikey's Funniest Home Videos, which is a video of his previous adoptive family being murdered by him.
Yep.
And Mom's like, oh my gosh, Mikey. And she sits down and she just looks like exhausted and frustrated that, yeah, her kid's a psychopath.
This is a huge, like, come on, man moment.
Come on, Mom.
Come on. You could have easily stopped him so many times here.
But I want to rationalize it as, you know what? She's wanted a kid for 5 years and she really thought Mikey was like the perfect child and she felt hoodwinked. Like, does she really want to go through the adoption process all over again? Or does she want to try to rehabilitate Mikey? And so she's sitting there and she's looking at Mikey watch his murder video and a hammer in front of him. Mikey does look really cute though and sweet. And he's just like looking at Mom. Mom's just like, Mikey, put that hammer away. And he kind of has this inquisitive look like, why aren't you running away? And he picks up the hammer and he walks towards her and she does nothing. She does nothing. She has her hand resting coolly on the armrest. And she's like, Mikey, don't do it.
She could easily overpower this little child.
Definitely.
She could grab the hammer.
She's in kicking length of this kid.
Yeah.
And she definitely could have kicked him across the room, but she's like, Mikey.
She could throw a pillow at him, a book, whatever.
Nothing.
Yeah.
He smacks her on the hand with a hammer. She's like, ouch, Mikey. And she walks downstairs, doesn't run, walks downstairs, grabs an ice pack from the fridge, wraps it around her hand, goes to use the phone, but the phone is off the hook because Mikey was savvy and put it off the hook beforehand.
And this was a thing for those of you who were not alive when there were corded phones.
Right. Back in the day of corded phones, if it is off the hook somewhere else in the house, you cannot make an outgoing call.
Yeah.
And
usually you'd either get like a busy signal or maybe like static.
It would just be like a dial tone, like ba 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 ba. And she looks frustrated, not scared. And I'm just like, Mom, get out of there. She's like, oh, damn it. My kid's a psycho. And then out of nowhere, she gets hammered from like the claw side of the hammer into the arm. Now she's bleeding. She's like, Mikey. She doesn't run out.
Stop hitting me with a hammer.
Stop it. I've asked you at least 5 times to stop and you won't do it. She could very easily go out the sliding door or out the front door. Instead, she runs upstairs and locks herself in the bedroom. Mm-hmm. We all know Mikey's great at climbing. And so he does. He scales up the side of the house and lands on her balcony, opens up the door. And she's like, Mikey, stop this. It's over. He pursues her.
You forgot to mention that he grabs a shard of glass and he's coming at her with the shard of glass. And that's when they go over the railing and the shard of glass ends up in her neck.
She dies.
My prediction number 3, Dad was going to be the one that discovered that Mikey was a psychopath. But Dad's at work this whole time. So that is not a point for me.
Not a point.
Yes.
My only other guess for Mommy Trenton is that she would have gotten pregnant and thus making Mikey more jealous. That does not happen. Mom throws away that pregnancy test and it really is it for her. Mikey was her last option. No point for that.
We also kind of thought like, oh, is Mom going to protect Mikey and kind of side with him, allow him to be a little psychopath, but like her psychopath, you know?
Yeah, sort of like in these last moments when Jesse's trying to reason with her that her kid's a psycho and she's rebuffing her, we're thinking, okay, but Mom, you also are starting to have some inclinations that he's not all right. Mm-hmm. And why are you rebuffing Jesse so hard? The only option could be is that you know what he is and you're going to protect him. And that's why you're walking, not running away from him. But no, she really doesn't try to protect him. She doesn't try to reason with him beyond, put that away, Mikey. She almost just like accepts that he's going to kill her.
Yeah. So Mom puts up about the weakest fight of anyone who's in peril that I've seen in a movie.
Yeah. And I'm going to rationalize this is that like she was ready to be done. She was like, you know what?
She's exhausted.
I'm exhausted from trying to have a kid. You were it for me. I really thought you were the golden child. You're not. I'll take your hammer and your shard of glass.
Yeah.
I also said that we would find out about this man with the bushy hair and the big brown car.
Never came up. Yeah.
Didn't come up. It was just a crafty lie from Mikey.
Yeah. And everyone has brown cars in the 90s for some reason. So, you know.
And now we're getting to my last prediction, and it involves Mrs. Gilder.
Yeah.
So now that Mommy's dead on the staircase, Mikey is seemingly dead on top of her. Principal and teacher come into the house and they find the bodies. And the principal's like, oh man, I'm going to go call the cops. Principal Gilder, you go outside to mourn. And she does. Before he leaves her though, he takes her gun away. He's like, give me that before you shoot yourself. Patronizing her.
He's like supportively patronizing her the whole movie.
He is very supportive.
He's like, excuse me, I don't mean to be rude, but what year teacher are you? Second year teacher? Okay, your opinion is not valid.
You're being
However,
I'm
I'm going to secretly steal your ideas.
No, he backs her up in the parent-teacher conference. He's like, look, we think that he has what's known as blah, 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 psychopath syndrome.
Well, he kind of stole her idea. I don't know if he necessarily backed her up fully.
He
kind
said
of like
we.
took her credit.
He used the we pronoun. He didn't say, I know about this idea.
He should have said she came up with this idea.
Had this idea.
And then I
turned her
explored it
down
a little bit more. And yeah, I realized that there
too
were
many
some red
words.
flags.
He's like, I'm going to just, on board with this and say that we discovered this. I gave her the book. He did give her the book. Anyway, he's a very supportive patronizer. And while she's outside mourning, he's inside trying to use the phone. Again, it's off the hook. He can't use it.
Phones are unreliable. Yeah.
And so he turns around to grab his gun that he had left on the counter, not knowing that a tiny little hand had grabbed the gun previously.
And there's a really funny scene here where he's trying to make the phone call. In the very corner of the frame of the shot, you see a hand, and it kind of doesn't look like a kid hand. It looks like an adult hand.
Oh, really?
Or like someone else, someone
I thought it was Mikey's tiny hand.
There was like a hand that was fumbling around for a little bit too long.
They were trying to match. They're like trying to match the scene to be like, oh, look, it's Mikey's hand taking the gun, tampering with it, maybe taking the bullets out.
Also, a curious decision. Mikey decides to take the bullets out of the gun as opposed to just taking the loaded gun and shooting the principal with it.
Because Mikey is such a psycho, he's having way too much fun killing people slowly.
Yeah.
A gun is too quick. So he wants to tamper with the gun so that the principal can't use it on him, because Mikey's got his own idea for taking care of the principal.
Right. And this is where that bow and arrow comes into play now.
It does come into play. So the principal turns around and sees Mikey with the bow and arrow, and the principal points the gun at Mikey and tries to shoot. He tries like 6 times, no bullets.
I feel like once you do the first click, like 2 clicks, right?
Clicks.
And then, oh shit, I need to dive out of the way because this kid has a bow and arrow pointed at me.
No, everybody
Doesn't.
underestimates
Just keeps
Mikey.
trying to click.
He's so little, and everyone just thinks, you can't do this. You don't know how to shoot a bow and arrow. But he's a kid of the 90s, and he's very savvy.
And he's an excellent shot with that bow and arrow, as we learned earlier.
We know he's an excellent shot.
Earlier, when he shoots the target in the gut. So that's sort of foreshadowing how he shoots the principal.
So principal's gone.
He was willing to shoot and kill this little kid. And I was like, damn, okay. He wasn't trying to disarm him or anything. It's like the bow and arrow goes up, pointing at the principal. And I guess, yeah, that's a natural reaction if you're being threatened, your life is being threatened to like protect yourself, right?
My natural
But there was no
reaction-
hesitation. He didn't try to talk him down or anything.
No, my reaction would be to duck out of the way. I'm sprinting. I'm going for the garage door. I'm going for the screen door.
Duck
front door.
and then shoot. Take him out in the kneecap or something like that.
Take him out in the kneecap.
Exactly.
I really feel like if I saw a 9-year-old holding a bow and arrow towards me, I would duck and run away and be like, okay, look, there's a little 9-year-old in there with a bow and arrow. He's not going to come chasing after me.
Well, yeah, how quickly is he going to be able to reload his arrow?
But like a still target, yeah, he's going to get me.
Yeah.
So principal's gone, kind of on him. And then Gilder comes in. This is where like my last prediction does not happen. It says in the final climax of the movie, teacher Gilder would uncover the truth. She does. And will have to shoot Mikey with her new gun. She does not get to shoot him with her new gun.
We never get the gun being shot. Maybe the production did not have blank rounds.
Maybe. He shoots her once with his little Dennis the Menace slingshot and his, silver marble. She's like, ouch, Mikey. He's like, you know what, Miss Gilder, I learned a lot from you, but I want one more lesson. You know what you can teach me? She's like, what, Mikey? How to die.
That was a good line.
And he shoots her square in the eyeball. Boom, she's dead.
I had predicted that Mikey was going to take Jesse hostage and Miss Gilder is going to solve the mystery and bring the detectives from wherever they were previously out to the scene where they bust Mikey.
I think we can each get half a point for Gilder solving the mystery because she does.
The main point of her character was to
solve the mystery,
and
but then do nothing
ultimately,
with it.
it led to nothing because everyone else solved it at the same time.
Yeah, all 3 of the main women solved the mystery, but did absolutely not much.
I guess you could say that if she would have just dropped it, then the principal and Mrs. Gilder would have been okay. They would have survived.
If she had not been a nosy teacher, she would have been fine.
Yeah, but maybe like Jesse would have gotten caught up in. Maybe Jesse then would have become a hostage.
After Mikey's done killing all the adults in that house, he cleans up, slicks his hair back, puts on some new clothes, and goes next door to woo Jesse. And she's like, I'm not in the mood, Mikey, go home. And Mikey's like, no, Jesse. And he climbs through her window because that's what he does.
And then threatens her with the bow and arrow.
Threatens her with a bow and arrow because she turned him down. She actually does have the sense to run into her room, slam the door.
She ducks. That's what you're supposed to do. If someone's pointing a bow and arrow at you, you duck.
Right. Not only does she run, but she like ducks and runs. She ducks and runs, goes into a room and closes the door.
Yeah. And then that bow and arrow shoots this cute little collage that Mikey had made of
early Photoshop.
Cut out a photo of him next to Jesse.
In the boat.
Yeah.
It's pretty cute. Yeah. But since Mikey can't get to Jesse, he's like, oh, well, I'll go home now. And then Dad comes home. Mikey's like, hey, Dad, I have a surprise for you. And Mikey looks so cute in this scene. You're just like, wow, this kid is such a good little psycho. Like, he's so endearing. You just want to do what he says because his little smile, these little freckly cheeks. He's like, come on, Dad, come on, this way, come into the dining room. And Dad goes around the corner and sees the most macabre dinner party waiting for him.
Yes, reminiscent of the movie Madhouse.
Yeah.
And reminiscent of Happy Birthday to Me.
Yes.
Right?
Little Mikey has arranged all these big adults at the dinner table. Mommy with a shard of glass in her neck. She's all gray. We see Gilder with her eyeball all bloody because she got shot in the eye. And then we see the principal with his back to us, but he has a giant arrow sticking out of his gut. And then the school Skelly that we learned is just about the same age as Mikey is sitting there with a turkey at the table ready to be carved up. And
so are we to assume that this is around Thanksgiving time for this scene to make sense?
It's still around Thanksgiving time, I guess. This has all happened in the period of a month? Dad is just unable to speak. His mouth is wide open. He's whimpering. He sees his dead wife.
Does not smell the gas, because we forgot to mention that Mikey is blasting gas.
He turned on all the burners.
Stove, yeah.
Turned on all the stove burners.
So we all know what he's going to do.
We know.
Which leads me to my prediction number 5, which was totally wrong. Which was that Rachel Trenton was going to get a hold of her old Glock and she has to make a good son choice, blasting Mikey after a psychotic "love you, Mom." That didn't happen.
No, she does the opposite.
The ending of this movie is far more psychotic, and it goes
psychotic.
It really ramps up, and it's just nuts.
You're
the sequence
whoa.
of events.
And this poor dad, with this terrible tableau at the end, and then Mikey off in the distance with his Molotov cocktail.
So yeah, I mean, you could imagine at this point, you're like, all right, we're connecting it back to the original scene where he's playing with fire.
Yes.
Which we did mention would probably be a thing.
Yeah.
But for some reason, just missed it in the predictions.
We didn't predict any of this fire business.
Any of that.
Yeah.
But he comes with a Molotov cocktail and just torches the house to the point where it's just like a giant explosion.
Yes, the house goes up in flames, and we get a nice little scene of the firemen talking to Jessie, who's wrapped up in a blanket for some reason, but she was safely next door. Why does she need a blanket?
She's shook by the whole incident. Her neighbor's house just blew up, it totally obliterated.
Okay.
And this little kid who she recently found out was a psychopath, she knows is responsible for it. That's why she's asking, did you find him? Did you find him?
Yeah. Where's Mikey? Where's the boy?
We found a skeleton.
We found the remnants of a 10-year-old boy. That's probably him.
But she doesn't believe it.
She's
looks
not
scared
sure.
after that.
She's like, okay, maybe that's him.
Yeah.
Luckily, the entire family of the neighbors, they're fine. Mom's there, Ben's there, Jesse's there. They're unscathed. And then we cut to a new social worker, and he's talking to these two new wide-eyed parents. And they're like, well, we found this boy wandering the highway. He's got amnesia and no memory of his previous name or whereabouts.
Yes.
We're going to call him Josh. Enter Josh, and it's Mikey. And with his famous kind of Michael Myers head tilt, he's like, hello, are you my new mommy and daddy? Credits.
And that was Mikey. It was, as you would expect, not really making a lot of sense there at the end.
So much fun.
I was surprised by how quickly Mikey's plan unraveled, and he had to kind of ramp up his psycho nature.
He had to double down
and
quick.
Just starts offing people left and right.
Once his mom saw that he was kind of a psycho with the fish, and once Jesse rebuffed him and his romantic advances, then he was like, you know what? My time here is done. I got to wrap this up quick. I know how to do it. Move on to my next fam.
Are you surprised that Mikey survived this movie?
I kind of am surprised.
It's like they left it open for a sequel, but that sequel was never made.
It was never made.
But there's still the possibility to make Mikey 2, Josh.
And we could have a new kid, kind of like the Poison Ivy trilogy. We didn't have the same Poison Ivy in every film. I think the first one was Drew Barrymore, and I think the next one was Alyssa Milano, right? So we don't need the same actor. So we could still have a sequel. Yeah.
So if there are horror directors or production companies out there that are looking to remake an old classic or reboot, maybe Lee Cronin wants to do this and do an Evil Dead Mikey.
Evil Dead Mikey. I'm going to say no to that one.
Or maybe you want to do an A24 version of Mikey. where it's all about this release of trauma. What do they say with the movies that like post Hereditary, where they're just about dread?
Actually, we were talking to somebody, another podcaster. She had a great suggestion that we mix Mikey with The Orphan. I feel like that would be a good...
That was like if we wanted to mash up two different franchises. And we had just kind of finished watching Mikey, so it was on our mind. I also want to just take a moment to acknowledge here that while we're kind of laughing at this movie and, you know, kid violence, and we understand that this is totally fantasy, so it's not something that excites me in real life.
No.
You were actually like looking at the IMDb tidbits, and there was a little bit of like this was on the video nasties list in the UK.
Yeah.
Because it came out around the time of
one of the most horrific tragedies in history that I can think of.
But we understand that this is fantasy. So that's the only reason why we're able to kind of like giggle about this.
And this is actually why I cannot listen to true crime stories, because then I get very down about it for a very long time.
What did you think of the second half of Mikey?
I had a great time watching Mikey. I enjoyed it. And especially knowing that it was like a precursor to The Good Son, but it definitely was heavily influenced by movies like Home Alone and taken it into a more dark direction. Yeah. Mikey feels a bit more into the hyperbolic realm.
And even despite it being hyperbolic, I would say that Mikey is creepy in the like they succeeded in their mission of like, all right, we have all of these. I think it's even in the tagline where it's like, you have Jason, you have Freddy, you have Michael Myers. But
I have the tagline written down because we watched the trailer right afterward, and we're glad that we did not watch the trailer as per usual.
It would have spoiled literally everything.
It spoils every death and the explosion at the end. But the trailer tagline says, "Remember, Jason and Freddy were kids once too."
Ooh, yeah. So I think it did succeed in being creepy, because anytime you have a little kid killer, there is something that is completely ridiculous about it, but also like gets under your skin.
Yeah.
And I felt the same way about
The Good Son.
The Good Son, definitely. Bloody Birthday and Bad Seed. Like there is something that is inherently really messed up about a kid who just like doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. And even if it's hyperbolic, it just creeps you out.
It does creep you out.
Elise, did you read any interesting tidbits about Mikey after we watched the movie?
The only other thing is that I was going deep into my cast list, and I found that the male detective is played by Mark Venturini, who we know from one of our favorite Friday the 13th films, Friday the 13th Part 5. He is the unhinged man with the axe in the beginning who acts as Joey. So yeah, and Mark Venturini also has a lovely role in Return of the Living Dead. He plays the character of Suicide.
Yeah.
And I remember him from that scene where Linnea Quigley is nude in the cemetery and she's like writhing on him, and he's having this like existential crisis. He's like, "What's wrong with you? Have some respect for the dead." And he pushes her away.
We were mentioning the movie Blank Check. So Brian Bonsall is actually the kid from Blank Check,
He's
which
in
is
Blank Check.
Probably that was probably buried in our subconscious. Of course, he's the Blank Check kid.
He's the Blank Check kid.
And he's equally charming and mischievous, except not so much a killer.
As evil.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then another connection to Brian Bonsall, his mom, Kathleen Bonsall, is actually in Mikey. She plays the school secretary that Miss Gilder is talking to. And she's like, "Do you have any information on this kid?" But shortly after Blank Check, Kathleen Bonsall took Brian Bonsall and they moved to, I think, Colorado so that he could, retire from acting and finish high school. And now I believe he's touring with the Ataris.
Yeah, so now he's a punk rock guy.
Yeah, that was it for my tidbits, though.
There is one thing that I want to mention.
What?
So the character who shows up in the very beginning of the film, who I called Sister Dice Clay with the leather jacket, we cannot find any information. The character is uncredited. I looked on Fandom, which is like a really good website that usually has the info. Tried to do a reverse Google image search. Couldn't find any information.
Find her. She is off grid.
Yeah. So if anyone knows who that actor is, please comment.
The fantastic character of Kelsey acting her heart out in that scene in the, I don't know, police station, detective room.
I mean, I guess we could reach out to someone in the cast. Maybe we could reach out to Brian Bonsall, who seems to be pretty active on Instagram.
Oh, really?
And just ask like, hey, do you remember the name of this actor?
But he wasn't in any scenes with her. I feel like you would have to reach out to the other detective, the female detective.
Well, anyways, internet sleuths out there, we need to figure this out.
Who is she? She's amazing.
What's her backstory? We love that character.
What's her story?
And she was really acting.
She was really good.
Hard. Like
Yeah.
she was putting her all into this really minor character role.
Well, that's going to bring me to my first award that you do not have on your list probably. But every now and then I have a category called Spleen Stealer.
She gets the spleen stealer.
She gets my spleen stealer because she's in one single scene, but she does a great job and we're still talking about her. So Kelsey, whoever she is, she gets our spleen stealer award.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, let's get into the rest of our awards. We are going to start with the Axe Award, which is for one element of the movie that we would axe or get rid of.
Okay, my axe goes to Jesse's continued flirtatious dialogue with Mikey. Or the gun, because really nothing happened with that gun besides
the gun.
Mikey taking the bullets out, and then the principal failed at using it. So they made all this hoopla about the gun. Nothing ever happened. But if you like the gun, fine, I'll get rid of some
It
of
did give us that really great out of nowhere scene of like, hey, you always wanted a gun, right? Or you're still looking for a gun. Here you go.
Right. They had this clunky scene where they're like walking through town. It's actually cute because they're out and about in the public and they have great jackets on. And Gilder's trying to find out if Mikey told Rachel about his cheating marble moment. And then she segues really quickly into like, hey, Gilder, you want a gun, right? It didn't really have a place in the movie. So I would either get rid of the gun or Jesse's awkward flirtation.
Okay, yes, I agree with those both. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
I'm giving my Axe Award to Rachel's battle with Mikey at the end there. It's sort of like a come on man moment, or as you said, come on mom.
Come on, mom.
Come on, mom. You could, okay, I'm not condoning like, hitting a kid, but this is a situation where you could beat that little kid's ass.
If he's coming at you with a hammer, you can definitely kick him.
You can at least grab him. He's got child strength and you're a grown adult. Just like grab him and subdue him.
Yeah.
Don't just allow him to pummel you with a hammer.
That is quite a come on, mom moment. But I'm rationalizing it as Rachel is tired
giving up,
and she's giving up.
Even still, like really you're going to give up with just that one little thing, that one little incident. Okay, you have a psychopath kid that you adopted, but what were you expecting?
I did want her to like subdue him and be like, you know what? I get it. You have these urges, but I'm going to Dexter you and we're going to learn how to rein this in. You can only kill bad people.
Okay, now you're starting to talk strangers over here. That sounds like some strangers thing.
This happens in Dexter.
And strangers.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, we did think like, yeah, maybe she's not doing anything because she's going to protect him, which would have been a cool outcome, but that did not happen. Angle. She just kind of sadly accepted her own demise.
Yeah, it was sad.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that is a worthy axe. All right, moving on to First Aid Kit. What character who was off gets to come back?
Yeah, I'm giving my award to Miss Gilder because her gut intuition, her suspicions were correct, even though they were, as you were saying, totally unfounded. But she trusted her gut. And we are a podcast called Gutted, where we trust our gut, whether it's wrong or whether it is correct. She got it right,
Okay, I just feel like her red flags were so out of nowhere. I'm just like, you got lucky, lady. Correlation does not equal causation. You just happened to get it right.
And I'm saying that any good teacher should immediately vet their kids. Are you a psychopath or are you not a psychopath?
Okay, two of her red flags were that he could spell the word that she gave him, assassin.
She was testing him, okay?
And a second red flag was that he got a math problem correct when he seemed to not be paying attention. And what? Like, she's like thinking he's too smart?
That got her to pay attention to the fact that he was doing something else. And it was really the fact that he was self-mutilating.
So again, she got lucky. She was like, she furrowed her brow because he got a math problem correct. And she's like, wait a minute. Now that I think about it, you're obviously not paying attention. Come up here. And she just happened to see that he gave himself a little prison tattoo.
I think she was a wonderful teacher. And I think that she had everything correct. So she is getting my First Aid kit.
Fine.
I don't know why she didn't duck out of the way when the kid pulls the slingshot on her.
When she got Dennis the Menace.
And he's such a bullseye shot that she got it in the eyeball.
I did kind of like this like Dennis the Menace style of kill where it's like you're taking all these things that are sweet in pop culture like Kevin McAllister, Dennis the Menace, America's Funniest Home Videos, and you're making them evil. Okay, so that's a decent first aid kit. My first aid kit goes to Beth, his adoptive sister in the beginning, because I liked that little actress. And you know what? I was thinking we could still have her survive and Mikey's cover wouldn't be completely blown. Maybe the paramedics got to her in time and they resuscitated her and she was in a coma. And that's why she wasn't able to tell everybody about Mikey's secrets.
And she wakes up and she's like, Mikey did it.
Mikey did it.
You're like, who's Mikey? This is Josh.
Yeah, like we don't know who Mikey is. He blew up in a house somewhere. And so Josh would still be safe and Beth could still live.
All right.
Maybe not have as neglectful parents because mom of that family didn't seem like the best. And maybe Kelsey, the cool aunt, would still be down to adopt Beth. So Beth has a great life with Auntie Kelsey.
Does that mean that that's getting your second kidney award? So, okay, moving along to our second kidney award. Which character, living or dead, would you have come back in a sequel or a spin-off?
It would be too random to have a spinoff with Kelsey and her little niece, Beth. It'd be like, why? Who cares? Is Beth going to light a fire or something? Or have a creepy dollhouse? So my spinoff is an alternate ending with Mama Rachel acknowledging Mikey needs extra help and she defends him and helps him cover his tracks in a Dexter-like situation.
Yes, this is what we were rooting for. This is what we predicted, and that would have ultimately been a very interesting way to end this movie.
Just didn't want the mom to be that pathetic and that willing to just lay down and die.
All right, wonderful second kidney. I'm giving my second kidney award to Mikey. I want to see a prequel with his original family. I want to know what happened. He said his original family was bad.
And he wouldn't show his shirt, but he said that he loved Freddy Krueger.
Right.
And wouldn't take his shirt off because he felt like Freddy Krueger.
So there's a way to reboot this film where you show the backstory and that he maybe like set the house on fire
and got burned while doing so.
Yeah, he killed his family, or maybe like the blame was placed on him. He didn't actually do it, but because he's now like traumatized by that event, he is triggered by people blaming him. Yeah. And that's what causes him to kill.
And that's when he goes into his little fit, like, I hate you. You're not my real family.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to be blamed. And throughout the whole movie, everyone's always like, wait till dad gets home. And that actually is a tidbit for me. There is an alternate movie title, an alternate US title called Wait Until Your Daddy Gets Home.
Ooh, do you feel like that would have been more creepy?
That's a very creepy title. And it puts a lot of implications upon dad. So I'm glad they went with just plain and simple Mikey rather than Wait Until Your Daddy Gets Home, because that makes you feel more bad for Mikey because like what's his past trauma with his dad?
Both the dads were kind of absent in a way. They were just like at work.
Yeah, but still both moms felt like it was a good enough threat to say, we'll wait until your father gets home. The first mom was like, it was more threatening. And Rachel was more like, I don't want to deal with this right now. We'll just wait until
I just want to take my bubble bath.
I just want to take my non-bubble bath.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, Wait Until Your Daddy Gets Home. Very wordy and creepier. So I'm glad they stuck with Mikey.
Next, we are moving on to our Best Intestine Award. That is for the most gut-wrenching, shocking, or saddest, or just best death in the movie.
I'm going for the final death, and it's kind of a cheat because it's more of like a tableau. So I'm going to give it to Daddy Neil when he gets home and sees that creepy dinner table of dead Rachel, dead Miss Gilder, dead Principal, and that weird dead skeleton that died who knows how long ago.
Does not smell any of the methane
Doesn't
gas.
smell the gas. He probably has swollen nasal passageways. And then he gets Molotov cocktailed and blows up. So that whole scene gets my best intestines.
That's so ridiculous. All right. Excellent. Excellent. I'm giving my best intestine to Miss Gilder. And mostly because it was shocking. Like I thought that she was going to put up more of a fight.
Right.
And I thought that she was potentially going to be one
The
of
hero.
the hero or someone who survives.
And she had the gun. I kind of feel
she
like
had the gun. She had all the parts.
I feel like there must have been an earlier rendition of this script where that did happen, because it did seem like everything was going in that direction. And then it maybe felt like once they got towards filming the end, they're like, you know what, we want something more grand. Or maybe they wanted to do a sequel. And that's why they had that blow up the house angle. Because I just feel like it really did feel like they had this whole recipe for Ashley Lawrence to be the hero with her gun.
Yeah.
And then none of that happened. The gun was obsolete. Ashley Lawrence did nothing but get shot in the eye.
It's a missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity for sure. Silver Gut. What gets your award for second best element of the film?
All right. I'm giving my silver gut to the 90s fashion. I feel like everyone was styling, especially Miss Gilder. I really appreciated all of her fashionable teacher choices. She looked like she shopped at Madewell.
Yeah.
And I feel like she would have been fashionable in contemporary times.
She would have been.
Yeah.
She had a really cute, sensible teacher dress when she was talking to Kathleen Bonsall in the secretary's office. It was like a quarter sleeve dress, black with little white flowers all over it, nice big white buttons going all the way down the front, cinched at the waist, very modest neckline, but still cute, like a little U-shaped neckline. Yeah, she had great fashion. That's a good one.
All the moms looked great. Mikey had some cool outfits. He had that one black t-shirt with the writing just on the collar. I remember when that was in style. Definitely saw a lot of gecko shirts. So, you know, like your like Elisa's style here. There were a few missteps, I would say. Mostly the detective in the beginning with that sort of like oddly cut suit skirt thing that was like a little too long.
And then her little ankle socks with those weird clogs.
Yeah.
That was not cute.
Yeah.
And that's probably why we didn't see her very much.
They just cut her from the film. Yeah.
We don't have any more fashion ideas for you, so you're gone.
Yeah. So I'm giving it to the 90s fashion. I think that everyone looked really great. I thought Ashley Lawrence looked really great.
Yeah, that is a decent silver gut. My silver gut went to Lyman Ward, the principal. I just really loved all of his line delivery. And you could kind of tell that he was improvising when he had to, when he was out there with the 4th grade soccer team. And he's trying to line all the kids up. And there's one kid extra who's obviously not paying attention. He's like, hey, kid, line it up here. We got to get going. The kid's like, oh, yeah, okay.
It was a great moment, yeah.
I also really just love the line when he sees the creepy turkey murdering the pilgrim coloring from Mikey and Ashley Lawrence brings it to him. He's like, huh, interesting, little weird. Who drew it? You? Like, did you improv that? Because that was really funny.
Yes.
So I'm going to give it to Lyman Ward.
Love it. All right. So that leads us to our coveted final award, the Golden Gut. Elise, what gets the Golden Gut for this film? That is for the best element. That could be the actor, the score, the cinematography, huh?
It's going to Brian Bonsall as Mikey.
All right. I 100% agree. What is your reason for?
He was so charismatic and adorable to the point where in the entire first half of the film, I was convinced that he had trauma and I wanted to like him. And this was his first feature film. I think he had done some TV show stints. I think he was in Family Ties, but this is his first feature and he's the title character carrying the entire film.
Excellent job from this kid actor who went on to star in one of my favorite and maybe one of your favorites as a kid. Blank Check was amazing.
Mr. McIntosh.
Yeah, Mikey was amazing. And Brian Bonsall really did a fantastic job.
Yeah, good job, Brian
So
Bonsall.
I agree.
Applause.
A well-deserved Golden Gut.
Absolutely. You get an award.
So we have a couple more to get through. We just have our blockbuster rating. Elise, is this a staff pick? Is it a main shelf? Is it a dollar rental? Is it a bargain bin, buy and keep, or a back alley dumpster pick?
Ooh, definitely not any of those last three. It is going to be a main shelf, and it's going to be in a rotation of staff picks when we're talking about movies with creepy children.
Agreed. Yes,
Yeah.
100% agree.
Putting it right there next to The Good Son, next to Orphan, next to Children of the Corn. It gets to be there. Mikey, I feel like, is like the hidden creepy child horror gem.
And a letterbox rating.
Since it is kind of hovering between main shelf and staff pick, I might go ahead and give it like a 4.5.
Really? Wow. I was going to give it a 4.
I feel like it hovers between 4 and 4.5. We'll decide on this later on when we actually do our rating, but I feel like when I do my Letterboxd ratings, if there's one thing that I absolutely love, it gets a 4, but there were several things that I really loved. So it might get a 4.5. I'll give this a thought later on.
Yeah, I would say that this is definitely an early 90s hidden gem horror film. It is over the top. If you like your movies to make sense, then this is probably not the movie for you. But if you like things that are just, I don't know, nostalgic 90s with creepy and also unintentionally funny scenes, then I think you might really enjoy Mikey.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to go back down to a 4 just because
I talked you down to a 4.
There were a few, after you described things, I was like, okay, there were a few moments where I'm just like, why? And because of your come on mom moment with like the mom really not doing much. Yes,
like
I wanted her to do something with that.
Things that don't quite make sense.
It's fine to be inactive and to like kind of be in shock and frustrated, but I want to see more of a reason why you're like that.
Yeah, and the reason why I gave it a 4 is because it is a fun and enjoyable movie with a really creepy kid and with all of that 90s nostalgia that I love personally. So it's something that I would watch. I would own. We do own it.
Yeah, we do own it.
And something that I would put on when I'm, I don't know, feeling nostalgic for the 90s.
Yeah, and I would say it is comparable to The Good Son. So I do think it does get to be a 4. And a 4 is a really good score. Not too shabby, Mikey. Don't be upset.
And lastly, Elise, any concluding thoughts for Mikey?
Don't be taken in by a kid's cute little smile and bashful little look. And he probably is still a psycho. I don't know. I just feel like, I was really sucked into the thought that maybe he had trauma and that we could fix him. And after seeing the end, how quickly he turned when his fish were sold. He doesn't care about frogs or cats, just fish. Very odd. And when he flipped out, I was like, okay, now psycho. Don't be fooled by the cute little smile.
My concluding thought is that Mikey is definitely the precursor to many a movie, as we have discussed, Scream. And The Good Son and all of these things.
Yeah.
So it's an influential movie.
Very influential.
I really think that it needs a Criterion Collection edition.
I would really love for there to be a copy with some sort of commentary from anybody. Kelsey?
I bet you there is. We probably just don't own that copy.
All right. I'm going to get
I know.
one.
It's got to exist. Yeah.
It's got to exist.
All right. Well, that was Mikey. Let us know what your thoughts were if you watched this movie. Did you enjoy it as much as us? Would you give it a 4?
How would you rate it compared to The Good Son or Better Watch Out or We Need to Talk About Kevin or any of those creepy kid movies?
Are you creeped out by killer kid movies?
Yeah.
I know I definitely am. All right. If you liked what you've heard, please like, subscribe, follow, give us a rating.
Tell a friend. Ooh, yeah. Give us a review on Apple Podcasts, maybe?
On any platform,
Any
really.
platform?
Yeah.
It'd be very helpful. Thank you.
Yep. Send an emoji in the comment section. Share. Do we say share? Do all those things.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. This has been another episode of Gutted.